The NHL playoffs this year, as expected, have been brilliant. There's been so much competition, so many tight games, so many blowouts. It's been exhilarating to watch, and that's exactly what I want to be talking about in this video today. I just want to talk about the games so far, the series so far up until this point in the NHL playoffs. Now, if you haven't watched it or you didn't know, I made a video a couple days back now on why I think the NHL playoffs are the best playoff system in all of American sports. And if you haven't watched that video, you should go check that out, because not only do I believe that that is true, but I think it was a very, very good video. But nonetheless, if this is your first time on the channel, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it a lot. My name is John. This is the Sports Advocate. If you enjoy this content, give me a like, give me a dislike, give me some criticism down below. I'm really trying to improve. I got a good one on my past video, which I have some ideas I think I'm going to start implementing into these videos. I'm going to try and improve it a lot. So to the person that sent me that criticism, thank you so much. I'm not going to state your name. I don't like doing that without permission, but thank you. And if you enjoy this content, I have content like this pretty much at a daily basis at this rate for NHL, NBA, and NFL. So go ahead and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and get right into this. No point in wasting any more time. The NHL playoffs. So it's the first round of playoffs. We're about 4 games into most series. Some series are only at 3 games. But I just want to talk about it. There's obviously multiple series going on, 8 at this current moment. And we're going to go through each individual series, a couple points, a couple things that I want to bring up, just because I've watched a good share of these games, and they've been very, very fun to watch. So let's start with the only series so far that really isn't close. Every other series is within 1 or tied, or it's been crazy. The only games that are within 1 outside of this are the games that haven't played 4 games yet. But the Avalanche versus the Predators, it's a 3-0 series. The Avalanche are up. That's kind of expected. We all anticipated that this would likely be a sweep. And the differential is 10 goals. Avalanche have scored 10 more goals than the Predators. It's a huge difference. Now, has this been a 3-0 series? For a couple reasons, I think. Jose Saros has not played for the Predators at all. He had injury with only a few games remaining in the regular season. He has not played. I think that is a deciding factor in this. But I expect the Avalanche to win, whether he was there or not, in net or not. Darcy Kemper also had an injury. That is the Colorado Avalanche's goalie. There's reports that he may be returning here within this game or the next few games here. But there was an injury to Darcy Kemper. Every game, though, it's a 3-0 series. Every game's been by quite a big difference, except for Game 2. Game 2 did end up going into overtime, and I think that was a part where a lot of people were saying, I think Avalanche are starting to fall apart like they did the past few years once the playoffs come around. But again, in Game 3, they made it look like they were clearly the better team, which I'd say that they are. There's not much points to cover in that series. It's a big blowout. Everyone kind of expected it. But next up, the Flames versus the Stars. A very, very good series. The Flames are another team that a lot of people are choosing to make it to the finals, at least out of the West. And surprisingly, for some people at least, including me, currently the Stars are winning 2-1 in the series over the Flames. Both goalies have played amazing. Both goalies have above a .940 save percentage on the entire series, which is extremely, extremely good. Throughout the regular season, if you're averaging that, you're one of the best goalies in the league. And they've done amazing, and it's truly been so fun to watch. Both teams have had at least one shutout for them during this entire series. And the goal scoring, which I don't think anyone expected there to be a lot of. The Stars have only scored above 3 goals so many times. They're not great at scoring a lot of goals. The Flames, on the other hand, do consistently score more goals, but I don't think anyone expected a bunch. Johnny, I think a lot of people did expect to play a little bit more, more goals, more stuff like that. But there's only been 9 goals scored. 9 or 10 goals scored total in this series so far. Now, there's only 3 games, but that's 3 goals per game average. Throughout the season, the average for a team is 3.14 for one team. So we're averaging over 6 goals per game, and we're averaging 3 in this series so far. That's I don't know whether that's a good thing to be excited about or exactly what that is, but you expect an explosion here in the few remaining games left so far, but it's just been very, very good. And like I brought up earlier with the goalies playing amazing, the Dallas goalie is number 1 or number 2 in both goals against average and save percentage so far in the playoffs. Jake Gettinger has a .969 save percentage and a 1.01 goals against average per game, which is very, very good. He allowed 1 in game 1, shutout in game 2, I think, and then 2 in the game the other night. He's been playing phenomenal, and I think a lot of people expected that, but I think more was expected out of the Flame. Like, I think everyone expected Flames goalie to be the number 1 goalie so far in the series, and he has not to this point. Next up, we have the Wild versus the Blues. A very, very good series. I expect this to be a great series. I have chose the Wild to come out on top, and seems like a lot of Wild fans are going crazy right now after after the loss in Game 4. They're kind of freaking out about ready to jump ship. I don't think that's a need. It's a 2-2 series. It's still really close. It's been very, very fun to watch. Game 1 was a Blues shutout, which was a little bit of worry for some Wild fans, but Wild comes back and wins Game 2 and Game 3. Big props to Fleury. A lot of people want to move on from Fleury after Game 1, but he's played great so far up until this point. After a lot of backlash, when the Wild chose to have Fleury as the goalie in net, with Talbot playing amazing towards the end of the regular season. But every game has been a blowout. Like, genuinely has been a blowout. Like, 2-game plus differential in every single game. And it's weird. That's a consistent thing that you're going to find throughout these series, is the series will be really close, but none of the games will be really close. Like, this is a 2-2 series, and there was, like, no close games where it was, like, down to the wire, which is a little bit weird. Kirill Kaprizov had a really, really good game with a rebounding back shot off of the backboard, shoots it off the back of the goalie and in. That was really fun to watch, but this series has been just an incredible goal-scoring showcase for a lot of individual players. David Perron, Kirill Kaprizov, Jordan Kyrou, Joel Eriksson Ek, all of them have multi-goal games. That's 4-5 people that have multi-goal games, 2 or more. And I think David Perron and Kirill Kaprizov have 3 goals in one game, so a hat trick in a game. That's very, very fun to watch. It's very enjoyable to watch when you have one guy that's going crazy and is not the same guy every single time. That's really, really enjoyable to watch. This series I expect to be continually great. Marc-Andre Fleury's been playing great. Kirill's been doing good. David Perron, even though he seems a lot older than he is, been playing great. I think he's only like 31 or 34 or something like that. I swear he was already that age when he played for Vegas a couple years back, so that was a shocker to me. This has been a great series. I expect the series to continue to be great, and I think this is my favorite series I've watched so far throughout the playoffs. Has been the Wild versus Blues series. It's been great to watch, and I am planning to watch the remaining games, however many that is, 2 or 3. It's best of 3 series to this point remaining now. But next up, we have the Oilers versus the Kings, a 2-2 series. Again, another tie series. Both teams have shutouts. It's been very, very good. There's only been one game that has been within 3 goals. Pretty much everything else has been shutouts. There was one game that was, I think, a 1-goal differential, and every other goal has been 4 or more goal differential, which is, it's crazy, like how many blowouts we're seeing, but these series are still very, very, very close. And is it coming down to the goalies having off nights? Is it coming down to the offense? I mean, it changes from series to series, but it's been crazy. The Oilers goalie has been playing very, very good. A 40-year-old Mike Smith has a .942 save percentage. Yeah, .942 save percent. I have a whiteboard below if you ever see me glance down. I tried to rack it off the brain, but for stats and stuff like that, I like to look down and make sure I get my numbers right. But Mike Smith, 40-year-old, has a .942 save percentage on the series. He had back-to-back shutouts. He was like one of like only a small group of people at that age to ever have back-to-back shutouts. He's been playing great for them lately. That was a big worry for the Oilers throughout the regular season, was that they didn't really have a number 1 goalie, and that was the thing for the Kings. The Kings always did very good because of their goalie. They always get a little bit of lucky chances, second chances on the offensive side, and they just have a really good goalie on the other side. And it seems like Mike Smith has outschooled him so far throughout this series. And the weirdest thing, we have 2 MVP Hart Memorial Trophy possible players in Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. I have a video on that. You should go check that out. It's one of my better videos on my channel. But the number one guy for the Oilers, or at least it seems so in this series, has been a guy that I think most of the league hates. I do. Evander Kane has played very good. He had a hat trick. I think it was his first ever hat trick in all of playoffs. He ends up with a hat trick, wins them a game. He's also been taking over. He has the most goals and most points for the Oilers over McDavid and Draisaitl. He's been playing great. So props to him. I'm not a fan of him, but props to him for still at an older age, when everyone's counting him out, still going out and getting it done very, very well. So props to him. So now we've covered all the West. All these series have been tight except for the Avalanche, Predators. Flames and Stars are obviously playing tonight. I think that's like a 9:30 game or something like that. We'll see how that goes. If Flames win this, we got another tied series. And I think the Flames could win this. I expect the Flames to win the series overall, but the Stars have been playing great, led by their goalie. Who will win out of the West? Most people are still picking the Avalanche. I'm personally still picking the Avalanche. The Flames, maybe not as great as we all thought, because there's a lot of people picking them for the favorites out of the West. I don't know. I like the Wild as underdogs, though, throughout the whole series out of the West. Next up, in the East, we have the Panthers versus the Capitals. This one, a little bit of a surprise. I think some people were expecting sweeper in Game 5 for the Panthers. I think I chose that too in some of my predictions. It's a 1-2 series. Capitals are up on the series, which is great. And it's led by their goalie, Ilya Samsonov. I'm so bad with these foreign names. I'm sorry. A 979 save percentage. That's very, very good. That is incredible if we're all being honest with ourselves. A 979 save percentage is phenomenal. You're letting one shot in, what is that, 50-some goals, 60-some goals? That's incredible. You're going to win a lot of games if you're doing that consistently. Is he doing that consistently? We'll have to see if they continue to win in these playoffs and if they can make it past the Panthers right here. But it's been back and forth blowouts, I feel like. Even though they've only played 3 games, it's been the Capitals blow it out, and then the Panthers blow the game out, and then the Capitals blew this last game, Game 3. They blew out the Panthers by a long shot. Now, is that going to continue? Is Game 4 that's later tonight, is the Panthers going to blow out the Capitals this night? Who knows? This playoffs has been so unpredictable, and I feel like every playoffs is. It's incredible. That's why the NHL playoffs, Stanley Cup playoffs, are just so amazing to watch. And one big thing that a lot of people were expecting, at least I was, out of the Capitals, yes, the Capitals are up 2-1 on the series, but Alex Ovechkin is not the reason why. I think if I told you they were up 2-1, you're probably expecting Alex Ovechkin to be the reason, getting like 6 goals or something like that. He has 1 goal on the series. Yes, it's only 3 games, but he only has 1 goal. Kind of a surprise, honestly. And no one in this entire series has scored 2 goals in one game. Every single time, even in these blowouts with like 5 goals in a game for one team, all that stuff, 1 goal per person. And that's it. No one scored 2 goals in one game, 3 goals, or anything. It's everyone's just getting 1 and then moving on. It's great to watch. Normally in these blowout games, you're seeing one guy step up and really push the team ahead, but it's really been a team effort for both sides in these games that they're winning, which is very fun to watch. You enjoy those superstar guys like Kirill Kaprizov and all these people going out and taking over for their team, not only in goals, but doing it in the whole series. And it's kind of fun to watch when you don't know who's going to get it next. You just don't know it. You may be expecting Alex Ovechkin to have this open shot, and out of nowhere he passes it or he misses a shot and someone gets a rebound. It's been very, very fun to watch. It's been very fun to watch, and I like a team sport. I think hockey as a team sport is very fun, but I think the superstars overshadow the team chemistry, and a lot of teams sometimes And maybe that's a little bit of a bad thing. And at times, at least in this series, is looked like the team sport has worked better than some of these other series where it's been one guy taking over. Next up, we have the Hurricanes and the Bruins. I think one of the most controversial series. I do not hate the Bruins. They're fun to watch. I like a gritty team a lot. I commented out on my Twitter at one point. I like a gritty team. I like a team that's willing to take those hits, go and fight, do all this stuff. But I do not like when you mess with the goalie. That's just something that I don't enjoy at all. I think that's the wrong thing, that you protect your goalie, and the Bruins don't seem to care at all about that. They have injured, and it seems like the goalies have a target on their back in this series, at least on the side of the Hurricanes. Not only has David Pastrnak injured Ranta. I think it's Ranta. My cat's going crazy right now. He injured him. We don't know when he's going to be returning and all that, but in the exact same game, Brad Marchand goes down in a position that he has no chance to really get to the puck at all. He comes up, and Coach Shakov, I'm so bad with names, I need to improve on this. He comes up, he back checks him, puts his stick right into the center of his back, skates away like nothing happens, and then when the goalie jabs at him a little bit, he gets so mad, Brad Marchand turns around and just heaves the stick into his wrist. It's like, what the heck is this? What is this? I hate it. That's not how you win a series, by targeting their goalies. And you may say he's not targeting. I mean, even the David, when he injured Ranta, maybe he's not targeting because Ranta was trying to clear the puck, and maybe you can say he was going for a block, but he didn't. He was full sprint and he let off a little bit, but he still smoked the goalie, and he got injured immediately after, and he didn't seem to care at all. I hate that. Don't target goalies. Win by beating the goalie on an open net. Do something. Fake him out. Don't go hit the goal. I mean, it's one thing if Ranta gets injured in one game, but it's something different when Brad Marchand also goes, back checks, and then slashes at the next goalie that comes in after. I hate it. I truly hate it, and maybe I ranted too long. And if you disagree with me, go ahead, comment it down below. Tell me how terrible of a take that was. But goalies need to be protected the same way that QBs are protected, and maybe not that much, because some of the flags that the QBs get are horrendous. You tap them on the shoulder at the wrong time, there's a flag. But yes, sometimes they're out of the crease a little bit and stuff like that. But Brad Marchand straight up, yes, he was out of the crease, but he just hammered his stick into his back, and then when the goalie tried to do a little something back, hey, don't do no, I'm gonna stick check you a little bit and annoy you, but he just straight up heaved his stick down. Come on. I know that's the Bruins game, but that's too far. And I feel like the reason why, this is bad. I should be. I'm talking about the games for every other series, and the thing I focus on most for the Bruins, and I'll continue to focus on, is all the extracurricular activities. I mean, it's been madness. The ref was taken down by some janitor skating across the ice, just smoked the ref with a trash can. Some dude got knocked out in the penalty box as the glass fell, and they had to pull out a stretcher. The series has been crazy, and not because of the actual games, just everything else that's going on. And that's not something you want to see. You want people to talk about your series because, wow, this is an incredible series to watch. Goal scoring or great defense, all that stuff. And everyone's talking about the wrong stuff. And whose fault is that? Is that the team's fault, the Bruins' fault? I'm not sure, but I don't know. Now there is some things to talk about the game. The Bruins have gotten healthy the past 2 games. That's why they've won them. They've looked very good. Their front line's been great. Brad Marchand, although he's slashing at goalies, he leads the team in points, goals, and assists. He's been doing very, very good. The Bruins have looked incredible. I could see the Bruins stealing this over the Hurricanes. Now, if you don't injure the goalie, maybe it's a different story, but the Bruins have looked very good. I thought this series was going to be close either way before the series even started. It looks like it will continue to be close. I just don't like all the goalie things that are going on. And the whole playoffs so far, there's been a lot of stuff like that, like goalie interference and all that. I don't know. They got to figure it out. I feel like they flip a coin to decide if it's goalie interference or what it is, and I just hate it. I hate it so much. Like, what was it? There's a Stars. Was it the Stars game or something? There was the right call, the first like true right call that I saw. Everyone's like, "Oh, this is definitely interference," but he tried to move around on the blue ice. The goalie was coming out, but he didn't enter the blue ice at all. This was in the Stars game. I don't remember exactly who it was, and I just feel like they're flipping a coin, and sometimes they get it right. Most of the time, they're seeming to get it wrong. And I don't like it. I wish there was a complete consensus on what it means to have goalie interference. Like, how much does he need to be out of his blue ice? And if he's interfered with, but if his back foot's still in the blue ice, is that goalie interference or is that his fault? I feel like there's no true consensus answer. But let's move on to the next series. The Maple Leafs versus Lightning has been a very fun series. I expected it to be a very fun series. I did choose the Lightning in this, but some surprises have came out of this series so far. It's a 2-2 series. Another tie series. My mic just went crazy. It completely muted. Hopefully your ears don't hurt because that hurt mine. Maple Leafs versus Lightning, a 2-2 series. I don't know if you heard that. Tie series again. Vasilevsky struggled for Lightning as a .888 save percentage, which is not good at all and not expected at all for the amount of a great player he is. Matthews has kind of been on a cool down. He has 2 goals in 4 games. I think he had 60 or so on the year, and he was playing incredible. And he seemed to be cooling down right now, and I think most people expected if Toronto won this series, it'd be because of him. And so far it has been. Mitchell Marner is number 1 in, I think, every major statistic, goals, assists, and points. He's been incredible. Mitchell Marner, a big surprise for most people. I think he has like 4 or 5 goals so far. And the guy that everyone expected, which would be Matthews, has not been a huge contributing factor on that goal-scoring side. And that's a little bit of a surprise for a lot of people that I think. But this series has continued to stay close. There's 30 goals combined in this series, which is crazy. Through 4 games, you're averaging... Well, I guess you're only averaging your... Is that 7? 7 and some change. 7.25 goals per game, which is a whole goal more than the regular season average. That's very, very good. I mean, it's fun to watch. I like high scoring, but sometimes I like low scoring. And this series, along with a couple other series, have gave me a bit of both. And I really, really enjoy that so far. The Lightning had a huge explosion in Game 4 the other night. They had 3 goals in the first period. It was 5-0 entering the third or something. It ended 7-3. They were going crazy out there. Every single shot they were putting up seemed like it was going in net. They're playing very, very good. And is that a worry now entering the remainder with the Maple Leafs that seem to always lose round 1? Is that a worry that the Lightning blew up all of a sudden, had 7 goals last game? I think it probably should be, especially if Austin Matthews isn't going crazy. I think for the Maple Leafs to do something, Austin Matthews needs to pick it up, and I think he probably will. He's very capable of it, and I think most people expect it to happen. And lastly, our last series, which has also been incredible, the Rangers and the Penguins. Only 3 games played. It's a 1-2 Penguins lead. This series, a lot of people have the Rangers going all the way on the east side. And I like the Penguins a lot. Maybe that's just because Sid the Kid. I'm not sure. I used to be a Penguins fan before I became a Vegas fan, if you didn't know. But I think I chose the Rangers in this series. I'd have to go back to my old video to check, but I think I chose the Rangers on this series. They're a very, very good team. Igor Shesterkin has been phenomenal. He had 79 saves in Game 1 in a 3 overtime game. Let's just talk about Game 1. Game 1 was insane. 4-3 Penguins win. 79 saves from Igor Shesterkin. The Penguins have a brand new goalie come in after Mick Smith. D. Smith ends up getting injured in overtime. They bring in a brand new goalie out of nowhere. D. Smith ends up needing surgery. He's going to be out for the remainder of the entire season. Dominique comes in, has 17 saves and 17 shots to help win the Penguins in Game 1. And he's looked very, very good so far in the remainder of the series to this point. It's been great. I mean, 3 overtimes. Everyone's going crazy. Igor's stopping everything. I mean, you have 79 saves on 83 shots and you don't win. That's brutal. That is brutal to see. I think Shesterkin is, I made a video on the Vezina Trophy winner, and I said I was back and forth on Anderson and Shesterkin. I said I was back and forth there, and I did choose Anderson at that point. I changed my mind about a week later. I have not changed it since, and this game really proved it. It's definitely Igor Shesterkin as the Vezina Trophy winner. There's no doubt in my mind. I still agree with my reasoning back then, but oh my gosh, he's been incredible since I made that video on, and especially in Game 1. That's crazy. 79 saves is crazy. I was not tuning into this game at first, and around halfway through the second, the beginning of the third period, I tuned in, and it was like, wow, what is going on? I'm like, this game's never going to end. We're going to 6 overtimes, which I think is the record at this point. It felt like we were going to set a new record for overtimes. The Penguins end up putting one in the third overtime, and they win it in Game 1, and they're leading series 2-1. Good on the Penguins. I still think the Rangers will find a way to come out and win it. Shesterkin will will this team's way. If Rangers win, it's because of their goalie. That's no question about it. A weird little statistic that I've noticed, it's only been 3 games, obviously, but whichever team scores in the third period wins the game. So Game 1, the Penguins scored 1 goal in the third period. They ended up winning in 3 overtimes. Game 2, the Rangers have 2 goals in the third period. Penguins have none. They win the game. And the Penguins last game had 3 goals in the third period, and they go on to win. So that's a weird little statistic there. But now we've covered every single series so far to this point, and it's been incredible to watch, and I only expect it to get better. I mean, we're only 4 games in, and every single series outside of the Avalanche and Predators is still up in the air. You could bet on either team, and I would not be too surprised at it. So it's been incredible to watch, and I'll probably make a couple more videos on how great this playoffs has been so far as it continues. But nonetheless, if this is your first time on the channel and you stuck along this long, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. But go ahead and subscribe, because I have content like this daily on all sorts of sports, and I really think you'll enjoy it. And if you did enjoy it, give me a like. Comment down below who is still your favorites, if it's before the same people you had before, or brand new teams that you like more. Say who your favorites are to go win the cup, to participate in the finals. Also, give me some criticism down below. I'm really trying to improve. I've gotten some pretty good ones as of late, and I'm really trying to implement them over time. And I definitely have seen improvement, not only in my ability to convey some statistics and all that stuff to you, but also in the video itself. I have an end card now. My thumbnails have gotten better and better as we've continued. I've started doing jersey swaps and all that stuff. If you don't follow me on Twitter, go do that. T Sports Advocate, capital TSA. I've done jersey swaps. I'm really trying to improve, and I'm really trying to zone in on one thing at a time. But I've got some good ideas from you guys, and I really appreciate it so far. But yeah, as always, like, comment, subscribe. I really appreciate it. But nonetheless, I hope I taught you something today. I hope it made you smile. I hope it made you laugh. That's something really important to me. Affect someone else's day in a great way. And as always, you guys all be safe out there.
But something deep inside won't let me quit. I swear that